Well, I want to return now to the scandal-plagued Queensland government. Premier Palaszczuk is battling on multiple fronts over the integrity crisis that's now engulfing her government. A spat between two high-ranking public servants, the Integrity Commissioner, Dr Nikola Stepanov, and Head of the Public Service Commissioner, Rob Setter, has turned pretty nasty with accusations that Mr Setter called Dr Stepanov, I won't say the word, an expletive on a witch hunt, a claim that Setter denies. Joining me now from Canberra is the Queensland opposition leader, David Crisafulli. David, thank you for your time. Another disturbing allegation. The Premier, though, she's just dismissed it. She said, you know, they can have a bit of mediation, but how is it in these days of workplace culture being under the microscope for almost every other politician that she can just brush it off?
Peter, it was an incredible statement. So the Premier's response to the first female Integrity Commissioner in this state who, let's remind your viewers, this is the woman who was blowing the whistle on Labor lobbying. She had a laptop raided, erased, locked out of her office. That was all from the Public Service Commission. So pretty serious, pretty important role. She's made an allegation in tears in Parliament that she was referred to with what is a misogynistic slur. The Premier's response was to say, get a room and sort it out. Now, there were groups today, domestic violence groups, who stood up and said, look, completely inappropriate and it will deter other women from coming forward. Now, we expected the Premier to stand up in the Parliament here in Queensland today and say, do what Peter Beattie would have done. The hands would have went up and said, look, I overreached, sorry about that. No, she doubled down. And one by one, a conga line of her ministers sought to defend her. Can you imagine the response if that had been a Conservative male who had made that comment? Can you imagine it? They would have been lined up like on a fence, mauling this person, and yet they defended the indefensible. And Peter, that to me shows that when it comes to defending values, when it comes to women's issues, the Labor Party in Queensland, it's more about how things look than how they really are.
Well, it's not dissimilar to Julia Gillard's famous misogyny speech. She was defending Peter Slipper, calling women's genitalia some of the most offensive words that any woman would face, but Gillard went in there and defended it and pushed her speech out there, and the speech is history. People forgot what the reason was for the speech. I'm surprised the Premier has owned the media in your state of Queensland, but she seems to be copping some heat here now on this issue.
And it's biting with everyday Queenslanders, Peter. I consistently have people say to me, I'm not sure what was on that laptop, but it has triggered an incredible chain of events. And the people who have come forward and they've blown the whistle on a culture where if you speak out against this government, you get stomped out. And the Integrity Commissioner has been very brave. And what she was investigating was this cosy link of Labor lobbyists. Now, I am not sure why the Premier seems so fixed on defending the Chief Executive of the Public Service Commission. There seems to be something really, really important. So it's only one of two things. Either the Premier's judgment is just so miscued, and that could be the case. We've seen it quite a bit in recent times, a number of errors during the flood crisis where her judgment was askew, but put that to one side, that's one option. The second option is Mr Setter knows a few things that he has to be protected. Now, Mr Setter was involved in providing a statement that has found out to be completely and utterly not true. Mr Setter knows about the Premier's involvement in the raid. Mr Setter knows about the allegations of what has the Premier knew and when. And I reckon Mr Setter knows another thing, and that is what is on that laptop. And on behalf of every Queenslander, we are going to continue to pursue it. Because when governments give up on governing with integrity, they give up on governing for you. And instead, it's about their mates. And in Queensland, we are seeing this dirty little cabal which is running everything. They're operating out of a government-funded building behind me. And integrity matters to people, and that's why it's starting to bite the Premier.
Got to leave it there, but you're absolutely spot on. If there was nothing there about lobbyists in the government, they'd have no issues making all of this public. David Crisafulli, thank you for your time.